Straighten your wire out as best you can, as flat as you can. I've got my sheetrock knife and it's sharp, and I'm just going to score the outside. You don't have to do it too hard. Now you can peel that back. Like that. Okay. The ground wire has paper around it, so you can kind of pull that back, and you may have to, you can just do that, and then you can break it off. So see, here's the 3 wires again. 12 or 14 gauge, 2 wires with ground. Okay? And so I could take my wire cutters now and cut that off. And here's my wire cutters that I generally use. I could use my pliers on this. I could have also used my wire strippers. That has a cutter on it too. And I can just cut that off. Let's see, is that going to be long enough? I think that's going to be long enough. Actually, yeah, that should be, let's just do a little more. I'm going to do it just a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to cut that off. That's all I'm going to use. I don't have to cut these off yet. I can just leave that right like that and wrap it, roll it back up, and I can save this for the next project. Save your wire, your extra wire. Even if you have small pieces, even if you got pieces like this long, you could save a few of those. You can use those for other projects. All right, let's get back up to the kitchen and get going again. So here's my wire I'm going to use, and this is like a pigtail. So I got to connect these 2 together, and I'm going to hook that in. I just bend the end over, and I'm going to hold all 3 of them together and put it in. But I think I'm going to make these just a hair shorter, and I'm also going to straighten this one out because it wasn't even nice and straight at the end. Whoever hooked this up, well, it could have tweaked like that when it was in the wire nut itself. Okay. So the longest one, I'm just going to cut the same length as the shorter one. Now I can hook them together. See, I just bent a little tab on there like that, just so I can kind of hold it on there nice and easy. I can bend these over sideways, and I want these nice and straight so that they fit in my wire nut nice. That way I can hold all 3 of them together. Put my wire nut on there. I try to hold all of them in the back. I could have made that little L just a hair longer. And I can tell they're tightening up on the inside and they're twisting together. There. Okay. Now I can push that. See, I want to keep my black wires out because I want to get these all the way into the back. And I might want to fold that up. I can push that straight back out. I said, that's why I like to disconnect the wires from the switch and stuff so I can push things back. And I'm trying to get that all the way into the back of the plastic box and get my wires, my ground wire, all out of the way before I push my black wires back in there. And it's easy to do because this wire is a 14 gauge wire. It's thin and pliable, and it doesn't have any sheathing on there, so it makes it a lot easier. So now I've got to remember how these wires are, this wire nut's going to be folded back up in there. And see, that's what I got so far. Now I can take my ground wire over on this side and I can straighten that out. It had a turn in it, and it wasn't actually underneath the screw very well. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one there. This ground wire is going to be, the light switch is going to go up there, so I know the ground wire is going to be to the left. I look at this, and this is up to the top. I see that the ground wire is off to the left. Okay. And that's going to go right in there. I can take this one. See how, remember it broke off before? I think they just, I don't know what they did, because I couldn't find any other ground wire in there. I think they cut it, or they were having an issue with it, and then they thought, hey, let's just put a wire nut on it. So they did. So that's okay. I can have that. I can have that there. Well, the other question becomes, I don't think it really matters. I got a 14 gauge ground wire that's going to be hooked up to a 12 gauge hot wires for the garbage disposal now. Should I have the ground wire, that's the 12 gauge over here, and move this one over here because this is only 14 gauge. Maybe I probably should. Silly weenie. See, I could have cut that. I could have cut the ground wire pigtail a little bit longer. So I've got, that's okay. I've got a little bit of extra wire. And so in the box here, so I can, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this. It's all nice and tight. And I'm gonna ultimately swing it around, okay? And I've got my ground wire back in the box for this. And I'm gonna have to pull this. Oh, I thought that was hot. But I think I pressed on top of a piece of plastic, and it felt like it zapped me, but I don't think it really did. Oh boy, that was weird. Okay, take my ground wire and fold it over and rearrange it over this way. Okay. Good grief. I hope it's long enough. I think it's going to be long enough. Yeah, it'll be long enough. Wow. Okay. I have to kind of pull this back out a little bit. There's a wire nut in here. Geez, I thought it was going to be a little bit quicker than this, but you see, I just have to relocate wires and be careful to get them back over here so I got enough room to make this happen. Okay, it looks like I got enough room to fish stuff through there underneath. See, I don't have to take this wire nut off or anything. I just have to get it under this plug here and get it pushed over into this location here. Before I push it in, I want to get my red wires. I want to get my red wires relocated over too. Okay. So let's see. Let's see how to do this. 12 gauge is a little bit harder to work with, and I have just enough wire to do that. Good Lord. All these wires. Okay, looks like I'm gonna have to go above this. I thought I was gonna have to go below it. It looks like I'm gonna have to go above the black wires. Up that way. Yeah. It would have been nice had they have given us just a little bit of extra room. See, I thought the wires would be a little bit longer inside the actual box, but they're not. Okay. That one's going to go up like that. This black one's going to go over this way. Like so. And I can push that wire nut back in the box. And I've got that over there. I've got the two wires coming here for the switch. I've got to get my ground wire over there still. Looking to see how I'm going to do that. Good Lord. I want to have enough room as possible to get through there. It feels, every once in a while, it feels like it's gonna get me, but I think it's just because I'm putting pressure on my thumb and finger different than I'm used to. And I'm just gonna locate that over there. And lucky that I have plenty of room in there. Okay, like that. Now I got my ground wire there. Got my black, I gotta bring my other black one in. I gotta swivel that over. And those wires are gonna be on the right-hand side of the switch. Okay. I know I don't have to come all the way over to where the ground is coming out, right? Wow. I don't have a whole lot extra to work with. But if I push it into the back of the switch like it was before, I don't have to do a curly Q on here. I just push it into the back. Okay. Wow. Okay, so there you go. That's what your project's going to look like right now. I've got my actual 12 gauge ground wire coming over here on this side. And I've got the two wires. This will be where the garbage disposal is going to sit now. This is where the light switch is going to sit now. See, I couldn't have just taken the switch and flip-flop it. I have to move everything in the box. And usually you should have enough room to make it happen on your wires and stuff. I'm going to see how well that plugs into the back. Remember, one of them seemed to be loose for the switch for the lights. We'll get to that in a minute, okay?